Pooh, can you please turn us over live? Guys,
I'm on live.
can you mute on that, please?
Rich, mute.
I'll mail that tomorrow. I'll mail it with my sister's card.
Mute, Rich.
All right, we are live at 7:02. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This meeting is being held in accordance with the public laws of 1975, Chapter 231. An adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a notice sent to the Star Ledger, the local source, and posted in the main lobby of the municipal building and on the township website. I ask that you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I also ask for a moment of silence for all those who serve our country, both near and not so near. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Capides,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yeah.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Here.
Committeeman Huber,
Here.
Committeeman Kaiser.
Present.
Thank you, Ms. Brennan. I am now going to proclamations and announcements. The Township Committee, as well as all of the Township of Springfield, would like to send our condolences to our municipal clerk, Linda Donnelly, and her husband, Bob, on the loss of their daughter, Erin. In some lighter news, the Springfield Recreation and Boxcar had their drive-in movie last week. It went off very well. The next one is Thursday, the 23rd of July, followed by Thursday, August 13th. And finally, I'm sure everyone noticed on Monday, driving by, if you were driving by Town Hall, you noticed that we have our farmers market that will take place every Monday through October 6th on the corner of Mountain and North Trivet from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. With that being said, I'd like to move to public comment on agenda items only. If anyone from the public wishes to be heard on any agenda items only, please use the question and answer feature on the Zoom. Put in your name and address, and you will certainly be recognized. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment portion of the meeting and move on to reports. Mr. Basicolo, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Before I start, I'm going to bring in Captain Rachel. We had an incident where PD was called out. I believe it was last Wednesday or so. And it's an ongoing investigation. So please understand, you probably can't ask a lot of questions. The captain will give us as much info as he can. But the point that I want to make on this really is it shows the extraordinary training that our officers have. They had to make some split-second decisions that I think you're going to find quite incredible. And in these difficult times, I think this is a great story that needs to be out there. So without further ado, I'd like Captain Rachel to please come on and explain what went on.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Captain.
So on July 8th, it was about 8 o'clock in the morning. We had three officers, Officers Louis Brito, Officer Frank Cunha, and Corporal Mark McBratney. They responded to an active domestic violence incident. And when they arrived at the residence, they found out that the suspect, he was being extremely violent. He locked himself into the house, and the victim reported that he had multiple knives inside with him. So the officers began knocking on the door. They asked the suspect to come outside, but he didn't respond. And then a few minutes later, the suspect came out of the house and started walking towards the driveway where the officers were. He lifted up his shirt, and that exposed a black pistol that was tucked into his waistband of his shorts. So the officers unholstered their firearms, and the suspect started screaming, "Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me," to the officers a number of times. At that point, the suspect grabbed the pistol from his waistband and pulled it out. But luckily for a split second, the officers observed that the pistol had an orange tip, which led them to refrain from firing. The suspect then took the gun and threw it to the ground. And he started to walk away, and the officers moved in, and they attempted to subdue him. It ended up being an altercation between the suspect and the officers. He was resisting, he fought them, but they were eventually able to secure him in handcuffs, and he was placed under arrest. And it was later determined that that pistol that the suspect had was a pellet gun. So we just like to point out that the level of restraint that the officers displayed in this incident is pretty remarkable. And it really is a testament to the training that all of our officers receive. And in addition to that, the valuable years of experience that these particular officers that were involved in this incident had, which ranged between 12 and 24 years of service to the police department. The one unfortunate thing is one of the officers was injured during the altercation, and he's going to be out of work for some time. So we do wish him a speedy recovery, and we want him to get back to work as soon as he can. So like Mr. Basicolo said in the beginning, I really can't go into any more details than that. I really can't take any questions regarding the incident, but we did feel it was important to share this with you to show how our officers responded, and that you should understand the outcome of this could have been very, very different, based on what happened. So that's all I have to say about that incident.
This could have had a very, very different result. And that's why I think it's amazing. They showed such restraint and professionalism. I would like at some point when the investigation is over and they're free to come in, I think we should bring them in and congratulate them in person. Just a phenomenal job.
It really was. I agree.
Congratulations. Good job.
Thank you very much, Captain. I appreciate you taking the time and sharing not only with us, but residents that things like this can happen anywhere. And thanks to the quick thinking of our officers and thanks to their training, and they were able to make the right decision. And as Mr. Basicolo said, this could have certainly had a very, very different outcome. And we're grateful for the proactiveness in which our officers responded.
Absolutely.
I just want to add something, Captain. You could verify this. There's been numerous bulletins that have been posted out. I don't know if they are recently, but when I was working, where we had actually had cases where people had been taking real guns and dipping the tips of them in orange for that toy gun appearance. So the fact that those guys pulled that one off like that, that was outstanding work on their part. And you just can never be too careful, and you can never be too sure what is real and what is not real. That's how authentic these things are. So good job.
Thank you.
And I think unless you're in that situation, nobody can appreciate how quickly they had to make that decision.
Correct.
It's going to be extremely, extremely difficult.
Correct.
All right, if there's nothing further on that, I would like to continue on. Captain Rachel, thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Give you a couple updates on where we are in developments. Our SACS project went before the Milburn Board of Adjustment last week. They are now insisting on a separate traffic study to be done. They want an independent traffic study. They're going to try to get them on July 20th with a new traffic study, which, by the way, just so everybody understands, the traffic study that was done, the company that was chosen was picked by Milburn. So it was an independent study.
Yes, I wanted to correct you, John, when you said an independent. They want a second independent study.
Correct.
That was very frustrating to watch.
And just so everyone's clear on this, that was an independent study. We explained that to them, but the Board of Adjustment said that was a study that was authorized by the Township Committee, not by the Board of Adjustments. So unfortunately, they felt that didn't count. So it's going to delay the project, hopefully just till July 20th now. So I will keep you updated. I've been speaking to their BA, so I will give you news as it becomes available. On the Larkin property, I think as everybody's seen, he's got steel going up. He's going to be doing the floors shortly in the next couple of weeks of cement, and then you'll see framing started after that. JCP&L was out today. He's got to move a guide wire that would be in the way. That's going to get done shortly, so there should be no holdup. On Gomes, we have a situation that there has been some asbestos that has been removed, and the state, they don't have the backup paperwork to give the state on where it went. So the state is clamped down. He's got to either prove where it went or show paperwork. He is not allowed to demo the other building. One of them he can, the other house he cannot until we clear this up. He has chosen not to start the foundation because he'd like to get the other two buildings demoed again at one time. We are certainly going to stick with the state and not attempt in any way to override this. This is something that we knew about, he knew about. It's got to be done properly. It's very important. So we're kind of a little bit of a standstill right now on Gomes. DPW, if you could kind of chime in, we got a bunch of roads that we've paved in the last couple of weeks. I'd like Robbie just to give you a quick update on that, please.
Thank you, John. Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
I always have to double check. Evening, everybody. So I just wanted to give everybody a quick update on the 2020 road projects. So since our last meeting, we have started a lot of work that's currently being performed. So under our roadside assistance program, which is pretty much DPW being involved with a contractor, we've completed full paving of Lang Terrace, Lyons Place, London Terrace, Gregory Road, and Valley Court. Gale Court was milled today and is scheduled to be paved Thursday, weather permitting. Under our DOT grant, the contractor did start the work on Benjamin Drive and Newbrook Lane on July 6th. They are now performing all the cement work, replacing curbing, handicap ramps, and storm basins. We expect them to begin milling late next week, followed by paving. We did have to remove 11 trees that fell within the footprint of that project on Benjamin and Newbrook. However, we do have 30 new trees going back. We have a bid opening on Thursday at 10 o'clock. This is for the full length of Tucker Ave. That is our county matching grant. And we have 5 streets that are in the engineering stage that are also going to be scheduled for this year. That's Woodside Circle, Fernhill Road, Washington Ave, Skylark Road, and Persimmons Way. So currently there's a lot of work going on in town. We're moving from street to street, and you'll be seeing the work continue over the summer and possibly into the fall. But there's a lot of activity and improvements going on that were not hindered by the pandemic. So if nobody has any questions.
I have a question for you. The trees on Newbrook, and you said you cut down 11 of them. What happened with those trees?
Robbie, did you hear that?
Hello?
Robbie,
Did we lose him?
I don't know. Maybe we lost him.
I think we lost him. He's not muted. I think we lost him.
I think they were in the right of way and they had to be removed, and we are replacing all of those.
Hey, John, speaking of
Yeah.
trees, where are we on that ordinance we've been talking about the trees?
Mr. Dowd, would you like to field that?
Yes, yeah, that ordinance has undergone a few different renditions, and the final rendition is with us. And we put it a draft form into an agenda ready version, and we have to send that on to get final review by the township. Has not yet been sent over to the engineering folks.
So our goal is by next meeting, Erica, we're hoping to have something for you.
Thank you.
All
All
right.
right, I got
One
one
last
other
thing.
thing, for DPW. John, let him know. I was at a couple baseball games over at Rosner, and under the yellow cap that they put on, there's a bee's nest, and they got to take care of it because people lean on that and they're all getting stung. So can you have Robbie take care of that?
Of course. He'll
All
be
right.
happy to.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else for DPW, one last thing I want to bring up. Ed and I, Galante, have decided that we called the county to see if we could get an extension on the reval. Where we are at the moment is all the outsides of all of our homes and our commercial space has been done. What's left really is the insides. What we felt is because of the pandemic, we're going to have a difficult time getting people to allow us inside their homes, which would end up resulting in a bunch of appeals. We'd rather not do that. So we contacted the county and we sent them a letter today asking them for an extension of a year. This doesn't hurt us because the work that's been performed will still be valid. The company that's doing the reval will not charge us any penalty. There's no do-over or anything. So there's no cost to the town. We just felt that in this time frame, it's probably a wise idea not to go forward right now with trying to get the inside done. So if everyone's in agreement, we're appealing to the county. If they agree with the board is meeting on 7:30. Once they meet, they will give us an update if our extension has been granted. We feel it will be because we're not the only town that's asked for this already.
I have no problem with that, and we've had conversations previous to this where you've mentioned it to me, and I thought it was a great idea.
Yes, Mayor.
So I think that's more than fine.
Okay. If there's no further questions on anything else, if I think of something else, I'll jump back in.
Thank you, Mr. Basicolo. I know that Mr. Scalera is not here, but Mr. Seidel, do you have anything that you would want to share about from the Business Improvement District end of things? If you have anything prepared.
Go out of here and text John and stay in it. John does it.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Nothing specific. I would mention that we've repaired the issue with the lights, flickering of the lights that were installed with the prepaid project. And that work has been done. Those lights should not be flickering anymore. We've restored power to the 5 lights that were out from the one that got knocked over by Connect One Bank, and we're in the process of putting a new light back up where the one was knocked over. We bought 3 lights, so now we'll have 2 spares, and we'll replace the one that was knocked down.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Seidel? All right. Moving on, then we'll go to finance. Do I have a motion, please?
I would like to make a motion, Mr. Mayor, to accept the total amount of payroll and invoices for the period of June 24th through July 14th, 2020, in the amount of $6,679,687.78.
Is there a second?
Yep, I will second that.
Roll call, please.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes. Moving on to minutes and reports. There are none. New business. Under new business this evening, you'll see 2020 municipal budget. Those of you who attend our meetings may notice that we've done it. This is the second time it's appearing on our agenda. The reason being, last meeting, unfortunately, the comments from the public and also comments at the end of our meeting turned out to be not sufficient. So out of an abundance of caution, what we are going to do is the presentation of the budget again. Again, I would like to thank Committeeman Kaiser and Deputy Mayor Weber for doing this. Again, we've all commented about how hard that you and our department heads and our BA have worked on this, getting this together. And with that, I would like to have a motion to open the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to open the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Good. Discussion and public comment. I would like to now open the meeting up to the public that have any comments on the budget. Again, please use the Q&A function on the Zoom. If anyone again has a comment or a question about the budget, please use the Q&A function at this time. Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I will make a motion, Mr. Mayor, to close the public hearing of the 2020 municipal budget.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Excellent. Now I would like to entertain a motion for resolution 2020-192, which is our municipal budget.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-192.
I will second that.
Excellent. Roll call, please.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes. Thank you very much, everybody. Moving on to ordinance, we have one for second reading this evening. Madam Clerk, can you please read the ordinance by title?
This ordinance amends the code of the Township of Springfield, New Jersey at Chapter 15 Property Maintenance to prohibit the planting of new bamboo and restrict the spread of existing bamboo.
Motion.
I make a motion to accept ordinance 2020-15. I guess so, 15.
Yes.
As read by Madam Clerk. Publication in local source July 23rd, 2020.
And I will second.
All right. I'd like to open up the meeting to public comment on 2020-15. The public wish to comment on ordinance 2020-15. Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment portion of the ordinance 2020-15. As for our discussion, we pretty much made all of our comments, during the first reading. Didn't really know much about this before it was presented, but obviously since it's been presented, done some research, and it is very, very applicable to us here in Springfield. Anyone else have any discussion on this?
No, I made my comments at the last meeting. I think we had a nice back and forth. So
Yeah.
I didn't realize it spread like it does. So I agree with it.
All right. Roll call, please.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser.
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes. We're going to now move on to resolutions by consent agenda. I will read them off. If anyone wants anything pulled, please let me know. 2020-193, 194, 195, 196, 197.
I'm sorry, go back. I gotta pull 193.
We'll pull 193.
Yep.
193 is pulled. Continuing, 196, 197, 198, 199, 200, 201, and 202. All right. Do I have a motion, please?
all right. So I guess I'll make a motion to adopt the following resolutions by consent agenda. Resolution 2020-194 through resolution 2020-202.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
and Mayor Capides.
Yes.
And
Madam Clerk, can you please read resolution 2020-193?
This resolution authorizes refund of redemption monies.
so I will make
I'll just be abstaining for that one.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-193 as read by Madam Clerk.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Abstain.
Mayor Capides.
Yes. Okay, that concludes the resolution portion of the meeting. On to discussion and action items. We have two. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll do it for Erica.
We want to discuss to approve Thomas Vicente's Eagle Scout project for construction of 5 picnic tables at Smithfield Park. I'd like to make a motion for that.
I will second that one.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. We have a second discussion item.
Second, I'd like to motion to discuss to approve Samantha Shorenstein's Gold Award project for construction of a mental health bench and labyrinth stone behind Patriot Park. Love this. Yes.
Do I have a motion?
We'll second
I
that.
motioned it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
second.
sorry. Motion. We have a second.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. Now I would, we have a third discussion item. A discussion to allow mobile food vendors, including ice cream trucks, to sell on the township streets. Now I've asked Mr. Basicolo to look into this for me, and I've mentioned this to the township committee individually this week. Just again, as another attempt to, give back to Springfield, especially during the summer months. I know that there was one on record. It's been on an ordinance to not allow them. My general concern, if we allow ice cream trucks, I just want to make sure that we do our due diligence and just make sure with this ordinance how much more we're allowing in addition to ice cream trucks, namely food vendors. The other thing I definitely want to look at is how much we're charging for permit fees and such. This is an older ordinance that had not allowed it, and the permit fees have been probably minimal. I think it's probably time to take a look at that and bring it up to current levels.
Was there an ordinance? I'm sorry, Mayor. Was there even an ordinance?
The last email I believe I got, there was on the books, but I think it was an ordinance before we not allowed it. Is that correct, Mr. Basicolo?
We could not find an ordinance that said you're not allowed. The only thing we could find is that there was one that gave some specifics on cost to get a license. So I don't think there ever was anything written that said you can't have an ice cream truck.
Okay, that's
what I'm wrong on that.
So it's an urban legend.
All right.
So
What I'd like to propose is, and again, please, I would love my fellow township committee members to chime in. I want to see if we can get a resolution on the agenda for next month or for our next meeting to put some things in place to have things like ice cream trucks roll through town again, perhaps some food trucks. But I also wanted to have our attorney look and do our due diligence in terms of what we sell, what we open ourselves up to any liability, and also look at our permit fees to see if they're appropriate for the year 2020, if any.
Can I have some clarity if there isn't an ordinance, and just for the general public and for myself, my own knowledge? And I've been on the committee for 4 years. I've never once heard somebody come before us asking to do something that's been denied. What needs to take place? I understand for food trucks, I guess there would be a permit. Is a permit necessary for an ice cream truck?
Yes.
And so we can't do anything. So we can't do anything until there's an ordinance that states the fees for these permits. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, I would love to get this codified so that way we can determine and we could set the tone and the process and procedure for what someone would need to do if they want to start it in Springfield. I want to look at, licensing, permits, liability on our part in Springfield. I would like to get the police and traffic division to give their input on things that we might have to put in the permit and also the fee. So I just don't want to have it. All right, anybody who wants to come to Springfield, I'd like to have something codified for people that use these types of trucks and come into town, process and procedure they need to follow. I know.
So it's not going to happen this year is basically what we're saying.
No, I would love to to have it happen this year.
Well, we only have one more meeting, and it's going to take at least 2 readings once that happens. So, based on the summer's going to be over by then. That's what I mean. So
I don't know if this is going to be by ordinance or resolution. I'm not sure.
okay, that's what I'm trying to find out. That's what I'm trying to get clarity on. Okay.
Greg,
I got one thing. I meant to get it to everybody and I forgot. There's Screaming for Ice Cream. An on-demand ice cream truck is coming soon to this New Jersey town. New Jersey towns all over. And from what I understand, I don't know all the stuff about it, but you can call up and order. It's online. You can call up and order online, and they bring it right to your door. Instead of having trucks drive around town, because some days you might get 10 customers, some days you might get 50. Then don't forget, if you're going to give license, you have to let them go to the pool when the pool's open next year, and then it's a big thing. I'm just saying, I think I'll get everybody this information and get it to you.
all right, but Craig, I think, can you comment on this? Is there
Before Craig goes, I know Alex has been wanting to make a comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I mean, just to be all fair to you, Mr. Mayor, I mean, I know it's been stated that somebody wanted to get it done this summer, but it seems like there's no ordinance on the book prohibiting it. So I don't understand, how we would be blocking it currently. If there's a vendor out there willing to do it, it seems like there's an avenue for them.
Yeah, they would just have to come and file their permit now.
And that's my point, Alex. I don't want to say, okay, fine, and have like 30 trucks come to town with no sense of process and procedure. I want something on the books. I want them to fill out paperwork from the town. I want them to be registered. I'd like to charge a permit fee for them to come in, so we know who's coming in, and we know, we get the police involved and make sure that as far as traffic concerns are or anything that they're required to have on their trucks, I want to make sure that they have. I just don't want a free-for-all of all these trucks coming in out of nowhere.
100%, but to that point, and I love that, and we should, of course, codify that stuff going forward. But I know the message has been out there for well before I've been on this township committee, and I've grown up throughout this, and I've grown up here. Has always been the message has been this has been prohibited by the town, but that's not necessarily the facts. It's not like one day the township got up and said no more ice cream trucks, like
right.
We outlawed dancing, right? We didn't do that.
Right.
So, and to that point, I just wonder then if there's maybe the market isn't there for that, but maybe that's not for us to decide, but there has to be some reason that ice cream trucks haven't approached this other than I highly doubt ice cream vendors are in this town hearing that. It's probably there are other places. So I don't know. We got to kind of come up with some way of getting it out there if that's something that we really want to do, to maybe invite them in the future.
I get you. And that's why I'd like Mr. Dowd to look into, getting something together, and whatever needs to be done, even if we don't have to pass a resolution or an ordinance, that's great. So let's get some paperwork together and a process and procedure together, and reach out to these vendors and say, come on, let's go. And that way we'll get the message out there, and we'll do the due diligence on our end, and we will let them have ice cream.
Yeah,
well, okay.
There's one thing I want to say about, I personally don't have a problem with ice cream trucks. I just want to cover one thing on the food trucks, if we're going to talk about that a little bit. I don't have a problem with food trucks in the right location. I personally have a problem with parking food trucks somewhere where it's going to be next to a brick and mortar business that is another food business that could possibly, affect their revenue. If we're going to look into this food truck situation, I kind of think we're going to have an area that is going to be away from other eating establishments. That way, we don't cause any problems for people who are paying significant amount of rent versus somebody who's paying a daily fee to go and park a truck in front of the store or in that area.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, Mayor, if I may, just for 1 second, I just want to clarify. It's not That's okay. So we primarily looked at sort of the ice cream truck, whether there's a prohibition on ice cream trucks. Part of that involved looking at some of the food-related, health ordinances in the township code. Ice cream trucks are regulated by state law, part of the vehicle code. So our police department is probably already familiar with some of those laws, and those ice cream trucks have to abide by them, as do the general public. Food trucks might be a little bit different, and the extent to which they're permitted to do certain things within the township might be more limited, because I don't know that they're regulated the same way that ice cream trucks are. So in terms, ice cream trucks are permitted to do certain things to stop. I don't know that food trucks are. So we may have existing traffic laws, traffic laws, and traffic regulations unique to the town that make it more difficult for just a general food truck to operate. So that could be looked into. But in terms of the ice cream trucks themselves, that looks like something that can be done without further action of the township committee. Although I know that since this hasn't been visited in a while, there may be additional types of restrictions that you might want to impose. So we can do a parallel path, though. I mean, we can look at sort of the long-term regulation of that type of activity, but also try and deal in the short term with how that can happen now under the existing law.
So could we do something based on what you just said, which I thought sounded more promising than the way the other part of the conversation was going, just in regards to ice cream trucks? You think that we might be able to do something even on a temporary basis now, and then look at it moving forward and maybe make adjustments to it? Because I'm just concerned with, if I was in the general public and I was listening to this meeting, knowing that we only have, I believe, one meeting in August, if it had to wait to a meeting, it's not going to get done before the end of the summer. But if it's something that can be done on a temporary basis, possibly, maybe that's something we can do, and then look at it moving forward in regards to the permits, whatever other ancillary things we have to talk about. I just want to try to give some clarity to the general public before we end this meeting, because the conversation was a little all over the place, and I don't think we got a clear answer on what we could do about ice cream trucks. And I know a lot of people would like to hear that one way or another.
So right now there is no apparent prohibition under the township code for ice cream trucks. So assuming they can come in and get a license under the existing code, under the existing fee structure, and that's a Board of Health license, then they would be able to operate. The Board of Health there may be certain things that the Board of Health has to do to ensure that a licensed vehicle is suitable. So short of that, then there doesn't seem to be anything that I'm aware of that would prevent this from happening fairly soon, without further action of the township committee anyway.
So with that being said, Erica, since you're the liaison to the Board of Health, can you kind of work with them and be in contact with Craig and just make sure that all of our ducks are in a row in terms of process and procedure and paperwork? And then
I will send out, I'll send out an email as soon as we get done with this meeting tonight.
Start advertising, the possibility, and I like it. You start with ice cream trucks, and if that's as far as we go, then that's as far as we go. And if we want to look at it in the future, and future actions might take an ordinance or a resolution, we'll as my grandmother used to say, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I issue the food licensing, food trucks, and therefore would probably issue any kind of ice cream truck permit or license. So, if Erica wants to give me a call, we can discuss how it goes thus far and what we want to do.
Awesome.
If you could look at the food truck stuff, the quote unquote fine print of the food truck, and if there's anything that we feel should be brought to the township committee's attention as to details, for instance, like Committee Weber said, in terms of where they can go, where can they go, where they can't go, maybe we can codify things further for the food trucks to make them comply with some of the suggestions that Chris had mentioned. That fair? Everybody good with that?
Just one last. I mean, really stress that if somebody has an idea or has an ice cream truck, they're more than welcome to come here.
Sure.
Like that's the thing. Like we kind of got off track. It sounded like that we were prohibiting it, but we're not. You know, it's not currently prohibited. They would be able to do it, and while people out in town may think we're prohibiting it, that's not the case. So if anybody in town is entrepreneurial and wants to start an ice cream truck, then they can. Or if they know somebody that they who they're friends with, they should encourage them to come. But to just put it out there that maybe it's more of an economic standpoint, and the ice cream truck vendors out there don't think that this town is viable. But that's for them to decide. But it just make it clear that the township is not prohibiting it.
Right, but then my question would be then, as Ms. Brennan said, would the food vendors, would the ice cream trucks need a permit to operate in Springfield?
No. I think going forward, but right now you're telling me
that was my point.
Yeah, no. 100. I just wanted to clarify once again that that we weren't here prohibiting it beforehand, because I think there in outside of this conversation, the conversations that have been happening has been that this township governing body,
yes,
in the past and continues to be the prohibition to ice cream vendors, and that's not the case.
So if you are an ice cream driver or run an ice cream and you want to come to Springfield, please contact Town Hall.
Alex Kaiser.
And then, so get ready for Mr. Softy. All right.
Just one thing on the food vendors. There are some restrictions on those. There is a permit fee established. They do have to have the fire department would inspect the suppression system, and fire extinguishers have to be in place. So it's a lot more restrictive than what an ice cream truck would probably be. Okay. That's already on the books, by the way.
And I also want to make sure that we get the input from the health officer too, and the Board of Health, to make sure that they're all in compliance as well.
Yep.
John, I got a question for you. Has anybody come forward recently and asked for a permit or been kicked out of Springfield?
No, I have not seen that at all.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't think they did, but it again, another story going around was that Springfield was kicking trucks out or so on, but I didn't recall hearing of any trucks applying to come here. So
no, I heard it was Melbourne that the truck got kicked out of.
No, that's correct, Rich. That's what I'm just wanting to say, is that certain facts need to be straightened before things get put out there. So yes, correct. Thank you.
Correct. I agree with you.
All right. I think we've covered all of that. I'd like to move on to correspondence. Cranford, we have ordinance 2020-09 that was adopted. It was the amend code part 3 land development to delegate certain planning board duties to code review committee. I asked that be received and filed. And just before I open it up to the public, I just, as a point of order, just to make sure, when we did pass the budgets, that was done properly, correct? We did a roll call, we did, and the process and procedure was made. I'm going to do this again. I want to make sure that it's done right. Everything was official, and the process and procedure was correct, right? Ms. Brennan and Mr. Dowd, correct?
Yes, ma'am. To the best of my knowledge, yes, and certainly as it relates to this meeting, yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. At this time, I would like to open up the meeting for public comment on any governmental issue. If you have a comment that you would like to make, please use the Q&A function of the Zoom to put in your name and address, and I will call you up. We have Ms. Bandrowski.
I believe you answered my question, because I asked about the food truck ordinance and the ice cream ordinance. Wasn't that a Board of Health issue? And you've covered that. And I also wanted to point out.
If you keep going, just give me your name and address, please.
Oh, sorry. Margaret Bandrowski, 166 Milltown.
Thank you.
And I also wanted to point out that Yo Addiction delivers ice cream. You just call up an order and they will do home delivery if anybody's really desperate. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad you covered this finally.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wishing to comment on any governmental issue? do, 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 do. I don't know. I know that I have. Is there that was answered? That was answered. Anyone else wish to comment?
We have a raised hand, Mr. Mayor.
We have a raised hand. I don't see who that raised hand is. So just from approved from the Q&A or someone that's on the Zoom meeting itself. Whoever it is, you could just.
They just put it in the Q&A.
Oh, okay. Yes. We have Jerry. Just name and address, please.
393 Hillside Avenue, Jerry Fernandez.
Hi.
Just, hey, we have a food truck now with the farmer's market, right? The empanada truck. What do they pay right now?
I wouldn't know the answer to that question.
They are a mobile vendor with a farmer's market permit. So they're actually considered a farmer's market vendor. It is free for them to participate in the farmer's market, but they do have a mobile license in addition for $75 for the year.
And I'm sure they go through, obviously, they have to go through all the health department issues before they go in.
Yes.
The other question, too, is one of the resolutions you had the cleaning up, I guess, of the fire department, the building from Pannoni, was it? What is that? Is that something that we have to do forever? I mean, what is there a time frame on that? And what is it what is something like that costing every year?
It's not forever, but it is the next phase that we have to continue on. They've got to do some further monitoring. At some point, we should get a clean bill of health and be done with it, but we're not quite there yet. And I'd have to look up, I don't know what it's run us this year. I think this last bill, Diane, correct me if I'm wrong, what was the last bill from Pannoni that we just received for this next phase? Do you know offhand?
Offhand, I don't have that information with me, but I can gladly get it to you by first thing in the morning.
All right. Jerry, if you want to send us an email, I can respond back to you on what the cost on that was.
All right, no, I just was curious. And I mean, is it something, John, it's looking like 10 years or?
No, we're getting to close to the finish line.
Any idea at all?
We're hoping that this is the last phase. I can't swear to it because it depends how the testing comes out and what the state says. But we feel that we're close to the finish line finally.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment from the public? Please use the Q&A function on the Zoom. All right. Seeing none, I would like to close this portion of the public comments from the public. And I do understand we have executive session this evening. Ms. Brennan, could you read the resolution?
I'm so sorry. Whereas Article 6 of the Open Public Meetings Act provides that a public body may hold a closed session, and whereas the Township Committee will during this meeting enter into discussion of the following matters: attorney-client privilege, potential purchase, lease, or acquisition of real property. Whereas the matters to be discussed in closed session or remain in the strictest of confidence by all Township Committee members in furtherance of their fiduciary duties to the Township of Springfield. Now, therefore, let it be resolved, matters discussed at this meeting will be released to the public when reasons for discussing and acting upon them in closed session no longer exists.
I will make a motion to enter into executive session.
I have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Who's going to give me a number to go to?
There's no action being taken. Thank you very much.
Somebody can get me a number that I got to call in?
Yeah, we'll send it to you.
All right. Before the meeting starts. Hello? Fuck it, Joe.
Find himself before we start discussing the. Yeah.
There's a quorum. Mayor, I think you're still muted.
Thank you. I think we're just waiting for Ms. Brennan, and I think we'd be good to go.
Let me dial her real quick. Hey, Chris.
Yes.
Mary Ellen can see and hear us, but for some reason, she's not showing up.
All right. She would just have to just document who makes a motion and who seconds and all that.
Yes.
Here she comes.
Up there's your name just popped up. Okay, she's with you.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I have a motion to adjourn.
By Alex. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Erica. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night. Thank you very much.
Good night, all.
Good night, Mrs. Calabash.
Did it?